WIFT PM.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio, you're listening to The Bigs with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin. Let's begin now.
What's going on, good people? Happy Wednesday. We're back in the building. You're back on the soil. And we are you see,
man,
I'm on point, though. We are live from the West Center for the Black People Media Studios, and we are the Bigs. I'm your man, Terrence Tomlin, coming with you always. My player partner is right beside me, man, Eugene McIntosh. What's good, brother?
What down, my boy?
It's all good, man. Happy to be back at it for another installment of a good episode, man. We got some cool things to talk about, man. The Bulls are almost back. Almost back, man. Next week they kick off the preseason, but the season starts in just a couple of weeks right before Christmas, just in time for the holiday. You know what I mean? So it's only right we dive a little deeper into the Bulls and see what's cooking for these guys this year. And plus, in the 2 p.m. hour, I'm looking forward to our resident OG, the one and only Kenny McReynolds, joining us, man, to talk about the passing of White Sox legend Dick Allen.
Kenny Mac, I know he got some stories for the guys, man. I got a story for him. I want to see if he can fill us in on it or if he even heard about it. I was listening to Lawrence yesterday, and he played a Steve Stone interview where he talked about Dick Allen playing a prank on him. It was pretty funny, actually. I like Steve Stone. I think Steve Stone is one of the best storytellers that baseball has. So that was a funny story he told.
Yeah, Steve Stone, another gift from the Cubs. I like to kind of tease my brother about. I saw him just tune in.
Man, you see Lynn Casper, man?
Hey, I was going to let you segue into it. Lynn Casper, former Cubs TV broadcaster and fan favorite, is now holding it down on the radio side of things for the White Sox.
Now, I'm not mad at Lynn for going to the South Side. I know doing radio broadcasts was like one of his lifetime dreams, so it's cool that he's able to live that out and probably just wanted to get away from Marquee, man. I think Marquee, if we put out a poll and see who rocked with Marquee and who didn't, I'm pretty sure the majority of the percentile will go towards not rocking with Marquee. Myself, I had Marquee. I really wasn't a fan of the stunt they just pulled a couple weeks ago, man. Marquee Network is no longer on Hulu Live.
Oh, wow.
But luckily, I got the Fire Stick, so, you know,
under the bootleg cable, actually.
Fire Stick got all the channels, so.
Man.
Marquee is huff, though, man. I'm going to just keep it real with you. So
even after all of the back and forth about, you know, people having access to Marquee, now they're back to being off of Hulu, and you can only catch them on digital cable. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really up with that from the start. I think Cubs world wasn't really up with being able to watch those guys for free for 100+ years, and then all of a sudden, again, Tom Ricketts and them turning Wrigleyville into Rickettsville, they trying to recoup their bread at any cost, man. So that's just another stride that they're making to get some of that bread back. And I think the people probably showed them last year that, hey, man, this 2020 is numerous ways to access your media these days. Cable TV is definitely on the back burner right now. And a lot of people just wasn't paying however much. I don't know how much the subscription was.
No, sir. Do not know.
Yeah, and I did.
I know it's too high, though.
Yeah, I wasn't going to know. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that played a big part. Even though Lynn wanted to do radio, I'm pretty sure Marquee, you know, the way they was set up over there, they had them guys wearing suits and ties.
Yeah, and that's definitely just not their brand.
At all.
I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, especially when it comes to your Cubs baseball. You know what I mean? The traditions, I feel like, are not to be broken. You know what I mean? So, you know what? Hey, ever since they lost or moved away from that WGN partnership that's been there since, you know what I mean, since been pimping. Exactly, man. And hey, things been going in the other direction. You know what I mean? So, you got to do right by your people. You know what I mean? So, the Cubs, I know that it's a business, and you know the Ricketts are out to get theirs. They make that 100% clear. every time the topic is brought up. But Marquis may have to reverse that. You know what I mean?
They ain't reversing.
Whenever that contract, I don't know, what the terms of it are.
They ain't reversing it, bro.
They at least have to add some kind of free option to it.
Do you see that Marquis is now showing college basketball games?
I get the emails. College they're swinging for the fences. I told a couple of people, it's like the fast food industry when they just throwing stuff at the wall and I hope it sticks. Like we got a donut cheeseburger. Will you mess with us now? It's like, no, y'all could have just left the Cubs alone.
Man, when I saw Duke playing on Marquee last weekend, I specifically made sure that I did not watch that game on Marquee just to send them a smoke signal to let them know, hey man, I'm not going, bro.
Is it like, it was supposed to be like a Chicago network though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but how much, and there you go. But how in tune is Marquee with Chicago as a whole versus the Chicago Cubs?
I mean, they brought over guys like Chris Myers. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah, all right.
It's like, no, that's not really what Chicago wants, So, hey, we never got a call from Marquis. So, hey, obviously they don't know what the fans want, okay?
Hey, Marquis, if y'all want to break bread with the brothers, man, and get your programming up to date and man, come holler at the bigs, man. You know we got that number for y'all. But again, bro, happy for Lynn Casper. I saw the fans, though. The fans basically thought he took a shot at El Mago Javier Baez by saying Tim Anderson is the best shortstop in Chicago right now. And if we're going to go by production from last year, I can't say that Lynn Casper was wrong about Tim Anderson being the best shortstop in Chicago right now.
You know I'm always ready for a Tim Anderson versus El Mago debate. You know what I mean? Because first of all, those are both of my guys. Like, I enjoy watching El Mago just like I enjoy watching Tim Anderson do his thing. But I totally feel like Tim Anderson is cut from a different cloth. Like, the man is the leader of the team. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think that about Javier Baez. And then when you look at what they do on the diamond, I feel like where Javier Baez lets up, Tim Anderson excels and vice versa. You know what I mean? So I feel like these guys are moving at a neck-and-neck pace right now. You know what I mean? I think Javier has done it. He did some special things before Tim Anderson, really kind of sprouted.
Right.
But at this point, currently, you can't go wrong with either guys. And if you say I'm taking Tim Anderson over El Mago, it's like, okay.
And vice versa, because, again, I'm going to give Javi the benefit of the doubt last year. I mean, again, we never know what's going on in these guys' personal lives. I know, Javi, you know the whole thing about Puerto Rico, the things that were going on.
Hey, those are excuses.
No, I'm not making no excuses. I'm just saying I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for the production that he had last year because he wasn't the only one. We saw guys with a track record like Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. Can't say Kyle Schwarber because he's been huffed for a couple years. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, man. Right? I'm gonna just go with what you said. If you choose either or, I can't be mad. I think Tim Anderson Tim Anderson definitely had the better year last year, and no shade from Lynn Casper. I think as a journalist and as a writer and as an analyst, he was just telling the truth.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to Lynn Casper doing this thing on the radio side. I'm one of the guys that just has to get a little bit of the radio call in from time to time. After losing, our man Ed Farmer, definitely Lynn Casper is the right guy to fill his shoes. So let's take a quick break, y'all. You're kicking it on the soil with the bigs. We'll be back talking Bulls.
Yep.
Hey, y'all, this is Salim Muwakil from Muwakil's World. In case you missed the last discussion, this is what you missed.
There was a time when there was a large-scale mythology that African people had no endurance. We were only good for sprinting. Right. And that was our forte. Other than that, we were useless in marathon races. Establishing your patrimony on the land. If you bury the dead, that means that this land is forever in your family.
Who are our ancestors, really? We are the living ancestors to a whole genealogical line going back hundreds of thousands, millions of years that we carry within us living today. Everyone who preceded us. Mm-hmm. You know, however, that conception took place, whether it was violently, with rape, or whatever the case, but we are them living today.
That's why it's important to understand our capacity, man. Our capacity is unlimited. We have unlimited potential.
Absolutely.
So make sure you tune in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Where my steppers at?
This is retired State Senator Ricky Hendon. This is my new song, Be My Christmas. It's on my House Party CD, produced by house music icons King Farley. It's available on my website, HollywoodHendon.com, various streaming platforms, and CDs. The album also has songs like We Getting Lit and Rona Money. Get the House Party CD in time for Christmas and New Year's Eve. This is our new song, We Getting Lit. Time for New Year's Eve. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Go to HollywoodHendon.com and get my music. Let's bring in 2021. Ricky Hollywood Hendon. Don't forget me, y'all.
This is the king of house music, Farley Jack Master Funk, and I endorse Hollywood Ricky Hendon. Let's go to work.
Listening to the Bigs with Eugene, McIntosh, and Terrence Tomlin.
He's bare-chested,
right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Better. Traffic jam fan. You know it. I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Born in Gary, Indian, just to be exact. Got family in the go and family in the nap. Same shit everywhere, saw it in the A out on Old Nat. Sucker free suckers can't take the heat, nah they gon' rap. Big dumb cats, big guns clap. Another brother dead, another mother son lack. I'm from the era where the niggas did scrap. Seen the same person shot with two different straps. You don't want this, now you don't want that. Tired of fuck shit, wanna take a nap. I'm a dog on these chicks, just a different cat. Must make at least a M to make an impact. May just paint the Benz matte black, fresh head to toe. Never wore socks that didn't match. Cause I'm from the middle of the map. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I'm from the middle of the map. Nigga, I get around. I've been there and back. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I'm from the middle of the map. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Check. I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Born in Gary, Indian, just to be exact. Got family in the go and family in the nap. Talking money, shit hit my jack. If it don't make sense, shit I can sense that. Blowing big loud, never the mid pack. See you talk the talk, that's just big cap. Nigga, I walk the walk with graduation hats. Fuck your opinion, nigga, in fact. You fuck my bitch, shit, I tip my hat. Now she dead to me, can't bring her back. Play the game, play the field, never been set. Bulls game flow seats just like my bitch.
That's Tony Stanza coming through your speakers.
Middle of the map, man. Shout out to Tone Stanza raking up them numbers on YouTube, man. Go to YouTube, hit Tony Stanza, MOTM, middle of the map. Give my boy a view, give him a download. Share the music, man. Tony been at it for a while, one of the good guys in this hip-hop thing, and he deserves his shot, man. Tony been at it for a very long time, putting out quality material And he's a great artist, but he's an even better guy. Tony is one of my favorite people, man.
Period, man. I definitely echo those sentiments. And of course, though, it sounds oh so good.
Oh, no doubt.
If you feel me, you can definitely do your thing to it, you know?
Straight up.
Hey, man, we can't go any further, excuse me, without you running the rules to these people, man. Let them know what they are when they get down on the soil.
Man, you know what time it is. When you touch down with the brothers on the soil, man, we need y'all to smash that share button, smash that like button, hit the comments, join the conversation, help me and T, my player partner, continue to push our content forward and continue to make What's in It for the Black People Media the hottest thing in these Chicago streets and these media streets and all across the globe, man. It's about that time, man. Shout out to the whole family, the Mays Jackson Show, the Book of Dawn, Milwaukee's World, the Collective Conversation, of course, the Bigs, and of course, the brothers, Two and Herb. I said what I said, man. It's all the way cracking around this joint.
Absolutely. Like Gino said, make sure y'all share this video. Let a friend know how we get down on the soil. But Gino, man, like we said before the break, I'm excited to talk about the Bulls, man. We haven't seen them on the court in a long time, and it's finally time to see what the realistic expectations are for these guys. You know what I mean? I've been seeing the fans extra excited about Pat Williams after the draft pick, because of all the videos that have come out of the scrimmages and everything. But first things first, man, ESPN is on dirt with our boy Zach LaVine, don't you think? They dropped the rankings. They say he's the 56th best player in the NBA.
56?
Lonzo Ball above him, DeAndre Ayton, Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. was ahead of Zach LaVine?
Stop
it, man.
What's going on? Why can't this man Zach LaVine seem to have people put some respect on his name?
I think number one is just about the Bulls as a whole, and him being the leader of the team, the top scorer. I think the last couple of the years, how long has Zach been here? Will this be his fourth season?
This will be his fourth season with the Bulls.
The Bulls have been trash for the past 3 seasons, so I feel like the fact that they haven't gotten any better, like not a bit. Now, true enough, he's had 2 head coaches since then, Freddie Hoy, who really didn't get a chance to implement the system that he was looking forward to doing and putting in play because, a bunch of his guys were hurt. And then transitioning to Jim Boylan, who a lot of people just feel like Jim Boylan had no clue what was going on and couldn't push those young guys forward any. I think most of the disrespect, with blatant disrespect at that, because there's no way in hell that Zach LaVine should probably be ranked lower than 30, let alone being on the brink of being an all-star last year. So let's just say if there are 14 guys on the all-star team, that's 28 players. Zach falls somewhere in those next 5 guys. Dev didn't make it. Devin Booker didn't make it. Dev is top 20 easily. So I feel like the ESPN, that was total clickbait.
You see, now the conversation goes to what does Zach have to do in order to get some respect amongst his peers, and I feel like that's a question that we've asked every year that he's been on the Bulls. You know what I mean? That's a question that's basically haunting his career. Because when you look at, the eye test on the court, the man can do anything. The man is a walking bucket. He's one of the most athletic players, not just in the game, that basically one of the most athletic players that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? And this is after an ACL injury. You know what I mean? Him coming back from that to be still as explosive as he was is special. The man averaged over 25 points a game last season, which was the first time that's been done since MJ. You know what I mean? Since Big Mike.
Man, matter of fact, let me see. I'm just trying to warn everybody. Let me see if I can pull this footage up real quick while we get this science on Zach. Man.
Yeah, man, it's only right. I feel like you have to understand that Zach has been dealt one of those tough hands when it comes to the organizations he's played for early on in his career. He played for a rebuilding Minnesota Timberwolves team, got moved to a rebuilding Chicago Bulls team that has put nothing but subpar coaches, on the sideline for him to play under. So I feel like this is a season with Billy Donovan being the new head coach of the Chicago Bulls that Zach has his best opportunity to show and prove who he really is,
I feel like there's no doubt about Zach being a superb athlete. He can score the ball at will, But I think the biggest thing is making the guys around him better. And I think that's do you think that can be taught, or do you think that's an inner skill already?
I definitely would see now from what I've heard from NBA players, it could definitely be taught. You know what I mean? I don't think Big Mike knew how to do it early on in his career, and he had to learn it. You know what I mean?
But it also comes with having the guys around you to make better. And also the guys around you have to have the will and the desire to want to be better and want to be able to implement team play and all of those things into it. So, again, man, I've been around. You've been around long enough. We've been around sports long enough that when you're the leader of the team, you get all the praise. When you're winning, when you're losing, everything is on you. So I think Zach knows that. We've talked to Zach plenty of times in the locker room. One of the great things about Zach that I think is regardless, win, lose, up, down, Zach is always upbeat, always giving his time to the reporters, always, never giving, snark and snide comments. He's always going to speak the real.
Man, I think you're on point with that. Zach is definitely an underrated leader. You know what I mean? I don't think he gets the respect he deserves for being a leader going through the trenches the way he was on this Bulls team the last few years.
I think it kind of slipped out a couple times last year with Jimmy B.
But see now, rightfully so.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I don't know how I would have felt if it didn't.
Me too. I love to see because it shows passion. At the end of the day, when you're losing yearly, when you don't see things looking up, when you don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, of course it's going to wear at you, especially with a guy like Zach. We know he works out with Drew Hanlon during the summer. We know Drew is one of the best trainers out here. Drew said Zach is one of his favorite guys to work out with because he's skilled like no other. Again, man, when you go through two head coaches, I think, like I like Fred Hoiberg. I know a lot of people, may have. I see you back there. But let me tell you.
It's like, what did you just say?
If you talk to D. Rose, remember when D. Rose was going through his issue? Remember the first when he came back with the mask and all of that?
Yeah, after Taj bowled him.
He said Fred Hoiberg was very, very, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to give him too much credit. But he said Fred took him, because it's a team. You have coaches. You have shooting coaches. You have rebounding. You got all these different coaches put in place to do certain things. But he said Fred took it upon himself to take him to the side. And we got the footage because it came up on my Facebook page, when they take you back down memory lane a couple of days ago. And you remember D. Rose and Fred were off to the side, and Fred was basically just showing him like, look, dog, I'm telling you, as your game progresses, as you transition from being this high-flying athletic point guard to being more Rod Strickland type, below-the-rim type of player, you're going to need to implement this part of the game into your game. And we never saw D. Rose with a mid-range pull-up jump shot. Even his MVP year, those were spectacular play after. So he said Fred was very instrumental in implementing them. That gem to him,
man.
And now you see, and I'm not giving Fred all the credit for where D. Rose has taken his game.
No, but
he was instrumental in helping him see the light.
I feel like Fred gave D. Rose the space to kind of transform his game at a bumpy time in his career, Joe. Because remember, D. Rose was shooting threes like nobody's business when he first came back and was playing with Fred. So I give Fred that, you know what I mean? A former point guard, you know what I mean? Talking to a point guard, I can see why the relationship was good.
No doubt.
But when it came to overall coaching, Fred let Jimmy Boylan come in and take his job.
Yeah,
it's like,
but
come
again,
on,
man.
If you let Jim Boylan take your job.
I don't want to talk about Fred Hoiberg and Jim Boylan, man. I think I think we need to go to break. I think we need to come back on the other side. And let's talk about the Bulls' first-round draft pick, Pat Williams, and let's talk about where these guys are headed going forward, man. You're on the soil rocking with the bigs.
In the 90s, with the black girl, where you in the 90s, with the black girl, where you in the 90s.
And now joined by Dartisha Pitts, Esquire. I asked you to join us on the Book of Dawn because you are that girl. And I wish more of us did take the time to honor each other as women and successful women because our unity, I truly believe that. Dartisha Pitts serves as the General Counsel for the Office of the Illinois Lieutenant Governor. In 2017-18, she served as the President of the Cook County Bar Association.
Becoming an attorney was almost default. I think it was more so a personality thing. I always wanted to advocate for those who couldn't advocate for themselves. And growing up, I would get in trouble for that. Because my mom, be like, look, they not even talking and you talking. You be quiet. I kind of almost felt the injustice for others, sometimes even more than I feel the injustice for myself. I would say in high school, I was the sophomore class president. So I've always taken leadership positions to push the voice of my colleagues. I'm also from the South Side. I've seen so many injustices that I always felt like our community, our families, where do you go? I've seen and been victim of from family where you've been victim of a slumlord. How do you address and get a remedy in that situation? I grew up in an environment where the police would be in the community and you would see the police harass those on the block for no reason. How do you get a remedy? Everybody talked about a lawyer, but nobody knew how to access one directly. And I think that was my drive to continue to be an advocate. I didn't know it was going to be a lawyer, though.
You apply and get accepted at Northern Illinois College of Law. Did you go directly after undergrad to law school?
No, I actually, right after undergrad, I moved to Washington, D.C., to work at a international law firm, Skadden Arps, Slate Marn Flom, in their corporate section. And I was a legal assistant for a year. When I got there and I realized how much I was making and how much those attorneys were making, who did go straight through, they weren't that much older than me, that influenced my law school trajectory. But I realized that although they did well, the type of work was not meaningful and purposeful enough for me. I wanted to be connected to the community. So I came back home and went to law school. I took 2 years out in between undergrad and law school.
And you not only complete, as many do, but you actually then take and pass the bar. Because that's the trick piece. Lots
on the first try.
There you go. A full anomaly right there. And I think it discourages some potential students or people from going into law because that bar exam is, first of all, not easy to pass on the third try, but for somebody to pass it on the first try is indeed confirmation that you were doing what you were supposed to do.
Yep.
The Book of Dawn, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on What's in It for the Black People Media.
What's good? We back down on the soil rocking with the bigs on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Hold up, man. You know what I'm saying? So I be telling these niggas, man, shit in the game, man. Shit
Tell them,
real.
We are back on the soil, kicking it live from the West End from the Black People Studios. Excuse me, we got a super producer back there doing his thing.
Hey, Ron, you got somebody on your heels back here. Bro, I forgot to even ask you your name. I'm petty for that. Oh, we did. Flo.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Man, he got the flow riding in this boy.
I'm trying to tell you. That's why I had to acknowledge my bad, player. Yes, sir.
No, Ron, you got somebody on your heels back here, man. You better get your weight up.
Hey, Ron, you definitely still part of the fam, but yeah, you got some comp now. Gino, man, we was talking, boys, before we jumped into the last break.
Yeah.
The disrespect, the blatant disrespect that the league is showing our man Zach LaVine.
Hold on, man. So let me see, because I had to pull. So they got.
Yeah.
Let me see who else they got ranked. They got Lonzo Ball ahead of Zach LaVine.
Ridiculous, bruh.
Wow, they got Lonzo Ball ahead of Zach LaVine, Blake Griffin, D'Angelo Russell, Montrezl Harrell, John Wall, and DeMar DeRozan.
Hold on. Go back. You said DeMar.
Lonzo Ball is ranked ahead of Zach LaVine, Blake Griffin, D'Angelo. He shouldn't be ranked ahead of any of these guys.
Ridiculous.
Montrezl Harrell, John Wall.
Montrezl Harrell.
John Wall, who ain't played in 2 years. I don't care
Who
if
ain't
John
played
Wall
in
ain't played in
2
5 years.
Big blood? Come on,
Big
man.
blood.
Come on, man.
And DeMar DeRozan. Stop the fuck. Excuse my language.
DeMar DeRozan is quite.
No way, man.
Do you don't think DeMar DeRozan is better than Zach LaVine?
I'm talking about Lonzo Ball.
Oh yeah, Lonzo Ball is ridiculous. Never, ever it has Lonzo been better than Zach. I'm not going that.
But they have him ranked above Zach, Blake Griffin, D'Angelo Russell, Montrezl Harrell, John Wall, and DeMar DeRozan.
So now we know who wrote the list. We know LeVar
had his
was in the room at least, because if LeVar wrote it, Lonzo is number 2 right under LaMelo. But LeVar must have had something to do with this.
I'm disgusted at ESPN, man. You guys need to hire a Scoop, man. If you watching, you must have turned that gig down. You must not have wanted no parts.
Yeah, they must have did it on one of your off days this year, bro. What's going on up there? But you know what? I think they do it to piss us off.
They ain't pissing me off.
I'm kind of tight. I'm like, come on, how many years are y'all going to disrespect Zach like this?
Yeah, and I think, well, we know why they did it, because we're talking about it now.
Exactly. So, kudos.
Shout out to y'all, ESPN.
On that note, though, I feel like you mentioned one of the reasons why he's not getting that respect is because he's not playing with other good players. You know, nobody else. Who else is on the list? Otto Porter.
Otto Porter was like 98,
and nobody would have been mad if he wasn't on the list at all.
At all. I think he could have dropped out in the hundreds.
Period, man. So I feel like Patrick Williams, the flower boy.
The flower boy.
We're gonna turn it gangster. Don't worry. It's gonna hit hard after Pat gets done with it.
Under the Godfather, Goodfellas act.
Exactly. Underneath the flowers is something powerful. Okay, but look, I feel like on draft day, a majority of the fan base was kind of iffy on our boy. Okay, but since then, it's been like Pat Williams scrimmage galore, and we've been getting all the videos in the world of this guy on the basketball court, bruh. And I think I speak for all the Bulls Nation when I say let's bleep and go. I'm like, okay, when's the last time we've had a player on the Bulls that even had these moves in his bag at all? Who could even think about doing some of this stuff that we're looking at right now, you know?
But again, that goes back to, I think, again, like you said, a lot of the Bulls fans, when they did hear Pat Williams pick number 4 by the Bulls, a lot of people were tight. But like you said, nobody even saw Pat Williams play at Florida State. And me, you know, I do this, so I got to watch him play maybe 4 or 5 times last year, and I saw the reason why AK would take this guy at number 4 and basically establish an early identity with this young guy, because we already know that the Bulls aren't married to any guy on this team but Pat Williams. So I wouldn't be surprised if AK, Mark Eversley, and Billy Donovan have a sit down and just say, start this guy, whether it's Kobe, Zach, Pat Williams, Laurie, and Wendell, or however you want to put that lineup out there. I think if it goes to practice, output in practice, work ethic, skill level, I think Pat Williams should be a starting small forward. But again, this is positionless basketball that the NBA is heading towards, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the small forward. Just put him in the starting lineup.
Yeah, but he's going to be
he's small forward. Yeah, he's going to play the small, but he'll be able to be interchangeable because he can guard the 1 through 4, even though he's maybe a little bit undersized at the 4. But I think he's strong enough. I think he has a high IQ. I think he has a very high skill level. And I told you, I kind of equated it to when Scottie Pippen came to the Bulls. He was ready to play defensively. Of course, he needed some makeup, of course, but we already had Mike, like you said. Mike was already the best player in the NBA, skill-wise and talent-wise. They just weren't winning games. So when he was able to see what he had in Scotty and Horace going forward, and it's like, okay, let me put the onus on myself to hit the weight room, make myself better. Now maybe, because you know what, and this is back to coaching, because Kevin Lockery was the first coach, then they got Doug Collins. Doug Collins was all about Mike. Give Mike the ball, get the hell out the way.
Light.
Green light. Mike averaged 40 if he wanted to.
Okay.
When Phil was an assistant coach, Phil saw what was needed out of Mike. It's like, Mike, look here. We know you can give 40 at any time. We know you're probably the best athlete in the game. You got an extreme skill level. Scale it back a bit. Bring Scotty and Horace up. Make sure that those guys are at the best that they can be.
Okay.
The ball is always going to be at your hands at the end of the game, but you got to make sure that those guys are at the top of their skill level, because at the end of the day, you can't win these games by yourself. We saw that in Boston when he was giving Bird and them 63 in the Garden, still got swept. So fast forward to now, I think it's the same thing, having a guy like Zach LaVine, who they're not married to, who could be on the trade block. But I think if Zach really wants to be in Chicago,
and I think he does.
There you go. Then I think the next step, and somebody said it in the comments, the next step for Zach LaVine is being able to finish games. Now, that sounds like finishing the game, putting the ball in the bucket for game, but that's also driving, creating that double team, and being able to hit Kobe White or being able to hit Pat Williams or whoever's on the court.
But Zach has showed flashes. You know, that game versus the Hornets where he put the team on his back.
No doubt.
He showed the capability. You definitely got to see it on a more consistent basis.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the fact that it's not a real training camp, but he is going, you know, there's going to be preseason games, is that going to affect how quickly they bring Pat Williams on, or is this just the perfect time to just fast track him and say that you're one of the pieces of the future, you're starting now, the future is now?
The future is now, man. Like, what are we? Come on.
And I don't know how Billy Donovan plays his rookies. Like,
that's interesting.
Because I remember, you know, it was a whole thing. Jim Boylan don't play rookies, and that's why Cody was on the shelf.
Well, Jim Boylan and Billy Donovan have two separate track records. So that's interesting that you said that, because I'm pretty sure Billy Donovan sees the future with Pat Williams, and I think he sees, like, if Pat Williams can come out and set the standard for where this team is headed. It's all about the work ethic. It's all about, you know, giving all you got. It's all about team. And I kind of think a lot of guys under that Jim Boylan era, I kind of think a lot of guys were not necessarily going for self, but they were just playing like whatever.
It's like we got to play this game. So
yeah, exactly. But now,
it's a game tonight, y'all.
But now with Billy coming in with this kind of renewed energy, you know, this new outlook, you know, Arturis with his track record in Denver, I think that's a lot for the guys to look forward to. And I always talk about not having the horses, but I do think that if Billy Donovan can implement the same type of system, now he did have Chris Paul. Chris Paul is one of the greatest point guards ever. But I think if he can implement that kind of system and get those guys to believe in each other and believe in themselves as well, I mean, I think Laurie, Wendell, Zach, if Kobe takes a step up, if Pat Williams just takes a minor step forward, I think that's a formidable opponent night in and night out. We would go to those games last year, T, and by the time we got to the press box, the Bulls were down 15 points in the first quarter.
Uphill battle immediately. And I definitely feel like guys like Larry Market and Wendell Carter Jr. got a lot to prove. I mean, first thing they got to do is stay healthy. I mean, after that, you definitely want to see them take the necessary steps in their games. You know what I mean? I don't want to see Larry being afraid to body somebody. You know what I mean?
And I think that's something that he spoke on, that Billy Donovan spoke on. It's about, he asked all of those guys, Larry, where do you like the ball? We don't want you to just be a spot-up three-point shooter and a jump shooter. We need you to get bigger, because if you saw Larry's pictures, it looked like he got a little bigger. So I'm looking to see Larry implement the low post part of his game, jump hooks, lefty, righty, fadeaways. I'm looking for all of that. But at the end of the day, I see people in the comments saying Zach is a Robin that needs a Batman. We've stated that plenty of times, but ain't no Batman coming, guys. Sorry.
We shall see.
Ain't no Batman.
We shall see.
Not right now.
I feel you. I feel that. I'm not trying to say that we have him. I'm interested to see what this man Pat Williams is looking like immediately. You know what I mean? Let's take a quick break. I want to throw the first couple weeks worth of games at you just to see if these guys have a chance to get off to a good start. You're talking to the bigs, man. You're kicking it on the soil. Live from the West Center for the Black People Media Studios. We'll be right back.
Yep.
You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard.
Well, what was the power of the Bible? Most motherfuckers couldn't read. So the Bible legitimately changed the world because motherfuckers began to learn to read. And once I can learn to read, wait a minute, I can question some of this bullshit you talking about.
What school you go to, though?
It don't matter.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Well,
I went to Dunbar.
Yes!
That sounds Dunbar. Oh, it's good. People disrespect the city schools.
This Chicago.
And I'm a motherfucking genius.
And that's on period.
Shout out to the mighty man. Nah, I'm just playing. But seriously though, think about it though, right? The Bible legitimately changed the world, right?
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard live on What's In It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
You're listening to The Bigs with Eugene, McIntosh, and Terrence Tomlin.
He's bare-chested,
right here on What's In It for the Black People Media.
This is it. Day one. The red letter edition. Big loader. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. Before I finish breathing, I'm moving the masses like minister speeches, penning classics as I finish my thesis. Not a pastor or a preacher, my passion is deeper. Rapper / teacher, trying to master the teachings past the sinister streets and moving bags past the police is speeding fast in the evening. The truth is it's all about eating, but I'm feeding food for thought for those either fasting or feasting. Putting faith in my beliefs when I'm speaking, looking straight till I'm decent, at peace with no fear, believing it's real. I tell them it's heaven, but it's hard when you talking to niggas with no ears. From clouds of chronic coughing and sessions off, walking and stressing, straight lost in the essence. I pause for a second with my thoughts and reflections. I take my losses as lessons, but it's all just a blessing, and that's the mess. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me. In an instant, friendship seeing quick in the music business. It used to be just music, now it's just business. The relentless pursuit for loot, dividends and interest, hidden agendas, leaving you defenseless against them. Not to mention intentions to benefit from you penning authentic sentences. Shit for the spinach, niggas that did it. Listen, while you scribbling, picturing images of living on premises, surrounded by fences and different women in silky linens, bending and grinning, intended rentals, you slipping, cause these VIX is out, tricking your chips in. The game's cutthroat, rules was laid back in the day before rappers got paid by sponsors that slung dope. And shit ain't really changed beside the amount of change the game. Famous names so these lames can front. So I change the game, see my future through the blunt smoke. So high, looking at my future through the blunt smoke. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with, I'm invincible, guarded by two identical, invisible guardian angels that guard every angle of my physical
We are back
frame.
on the
Spiritual
soil.
miniature ministers.
I'm Terrence Tomlin, coming to you as always with my player partner, Eugene McIntosh.
Like my eyes, they reside on the left and right side of my brain. Come on, man.
Let them know.
Y'all already know what it is. The great Mick Luda on the tracks, man. We got Flo holding us down behind the boards, doing all the hard work, man. Knowing the soundtrack, man. That's what we talking about back there. Shout out to our boy behind the boards, man.
Absolutely. I'm definitely rocking with it, man. Coming up at the top of the hour, we got our resident OG, Kenny McReynolds.
Kenny Mac.
Coming to talk about White Sox legend, the passing of White Sox legend, Dick Allen. A very necessary conversation, man. Our homegirl, Shakia Taylor, did a piece a while ago on him that is stuck on my mind, and I'm actually kind of salty that he's gone without being able to see him going, himself going to the Hall of Fame, which is probably going to happen very soon. But that's at the top of the hour, man. We want to wrap up this Bulls conversation by taking a quick look at the first couple of weeks of the schedule. I mean, I feel like it's very important as usual. As usual, get off to a good start. And I feel like you're always very entertaining when you're looking at this Bulls schedule, because usually you're like L.
Oh,
That's a W.
Changed.
L.
Oh, ain't nothing changed.
So I'm gonna throw a few games at you. I want you to tell me how you feel about them off top. Okay?
Let's get it.
They're kicking off the season on the 23rd at home versus the Atlanta Hawks. This is the
new and improved.
Yeah,
Atlanta
the new and improved Atlanta Hawks. Chris Dunn is over there.
Did you know Grant Hill was an owner of the Atlanta Hawks?
Grant Hill is an owner of the Atlanta Hawks?
Grant Hill.
I did not know that he had a piece of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Man,
win or loss, bro?
I'm looking at an L, man. I'm looking for Trae Young.
Okay.
As one of the heralded.
Even at home, after these are two teams.
It doesn't matter. Ain't no fans in the building.
Thirsty.
Yeah, ain't no fans in the building, so it's just like.
That's right. No fans in the building officially. So, sorry, Chicago.
Yeah,
y'all wasn't going anyway.
I'm looking for Trae Young to come out on a rampage. He's one of the up-and-coming superstars of the league. There's a lot of talk about him making his guys around him better. I'm looking to see Cam Reddish. Who did they draft? Didn't they draft the guy that we was looking for, Deeney? Well, no, he went to Washington. Who did the Hawks get? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not ringing.
It doesn't matter. I'm just looking for Trae Young.
Somebody in the comments let us know.
Trae Young is definitely on a rampage this year. He was putting up crazy numbers last year, so I'm interested to see the route he takes. But yeah, first game at home, L.
Second straight home game versus the Indiana Pacers.
The Indiana Pacers. Is Victor Oladipo, does he really want to be in Indiana?
Absolutely not. Who wants to be in Indiana? I still don't know.
Is Miles Turner still in Indiana?
He is. They're both still there.
Second home game versus the Indiana Pacers. I'm taking the Bulls. We'll start the season 1-1.
I like that one. Next up, for their third straight home game to kick the season off.
Wow.
This one is versus the Golden State Warriors.
Ooh.
Steph will be in the building.
That's an L. Steph, Dre, Andrew Wiggins. Our first time getting to see James Wiseman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a big L, Lamont Coleman style.
3 entertaining games to kick the season off, I feel like.
And 3 at home. That's
at the crib. That's a decent favor from the basketball guys, okay? Next up, they hit the road. Washington Wizards. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. No more John Wall.
I'm looking for Bertans, who signed a huge deal in the offseason, to step his game up. Want to see how Russ implements his game, not trying to do too much.
I had no idea who that was. Look at you.
Who?
I didn't know the Wizards was making moves like that. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Bertans, he's a killer from outside. Got the J working. Interested to see how Russell Westbrook is going to implement his game, not take away from my boy Bradley. You know how much I love Bradley Beal. Looking to see Brad step it up a notch. I mean, I wouldn't call it a coming out last year because they were still whack. But I'm definitely looking for Brad to step it up and be one of the faces of the NBA for the next few years. So that's probably going to be an L, man. 1-3 to start the season.
This is an interesting tidbit about the schedule because the next game is also an away game versus the Washington Wizards. They play them back-to-back in Washington.
Huh?
So they have December 29th versus the Wizards, then December 31st versus the Wizards at Washington.
That's weird.
It's the COVID-related
situation. Go to Washington and don't come back.
Exactly. It's like, go ahead, get those 2 games out. So both the away games get taken care of in a weekend and vice versa.
That makes, okay, I get it now. Man, they got to win one of those.
Yeah,
games.
they splitting that one.
They got to win one of those. So I get them the W then.
Up next, they stay on the road versus the reigning MVP. They're going to Milwaukee to face Giannis and those guys.
L.
Then they hit the road. It's West Coast. It's West Coast circus time, okay, even though it's going to be no circus time.
Well, we already know how those things have turned out the last how many years.
Yeah, it's bad news. Up first is Luka and the Mavericks.
L.
Then it's Dame and the Blazers.
L.
Then it's the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento ain't no joke. They got Buddy out there. They got Marvin Bagley coming back. They got Harrison Barnes
De'Aaron
making
Fox,
$100 million.
yeah.
De'Aaron Fox
They
just
broke him
signed
off,
up.
yeah.
Man, look.
It's an interesting team out there. I like those guys.
L.
Then it's the reigning NBA champions,
L.
Los Angeles Lakers.
L.
Then, of course, you can guess who's next, the Clippers.
L.
And that wraps up the first 2 weeks of the season.
The Bulls will start the season if
That's
that
like
was
the
12
five, yeah.
games.
That was about
2-10.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
If it was 10 games, 2-8. The Bulls will win 2 of those games.
That is not a fast start. Okay?
I see Kenneth Steele says Milwaukee ain't them dudes, fam. They ain't gotta be them dudes. I mean, they more of them dudes than we are. Any team with Giannis and whoever else they got.
Exactly, Giannis alone.
Yeah. I know. I ain't saying they them dudes, bro, but come on now.
Exactly.
Don't
It's no way.
the MVP.
It's no way you can favor the Bulls in that game
At all.
unless you're a Bulls fan.
At all.
It's okay. We understand.
I'm pretty sure the line on that is probably gonna be minus 11 and a half.
Heavy
Milwaukee.
bucks, okay? But you know what? I feel like this is not the season that the Bulls, are going to the playoffs. And I feel like as we get closer to the season, we'll throw out some hard predictions. But I'm not necessarily mad at another lottery.
We are shooting for the lottery, man.
Come on.
We not tanking. We not coming out with the no limit tank immediately. But come on, man. Next year's draft is the draft with the top 5 players that could probably be. When you draft these players, we looking at superstars coming down the line.
It's not gonna happen overnight, y'all. Let's take it a little easy. We'll be reasonable with the guys, though. All right. On the other side of this, man, we're going to be talking about Dick Allen with the one and only Kenny McReynolds. We'll be right back on the soil.
Yep.
It's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me.
Minding our black-owned business. I have a good friend with us this morning. I'm so excited. Jonathan Swain is here. KimBarkBeverage.com. We tend to talk about business a lot. We both are in family businesses. Was this the plan? Because you are second-generation business owner.
Yeah. No, actually, I'll talk about it from my father's perspective, and I'll talk about it from my perspective. His perspective, he did not want me to be in this business. The liquor business has a sordid history. They call it a sin business. I mean, it's less that now, but it had a very sordid history. He didn't want me to do this. He wanted me to go off to school. My father was the first person to fire me at 9 years old. I was supposed to be at work at 11 o'clock, and I showed up 5 minutes late, walked me outside, and fired me. And I'll never be late again. So I appreciate him for that. I walked home. My mother said, well, what happened? I said, Dad fired me. What happened? I was late. He said, well, you got fired. You're late. You can't be late. Told you to get up and leave. My side of it, in many ways, I have a very unique rearing experience in that I've never seen my father work a job. So when I was born, my dad was an entrepreneur. Growing up, I'm going to own my own business. I'm going to be in business doing something, controlling my own destiny in some ways. In particular, my father's generation relative to us, there's not a lot of information transfer about how that works. And there's not a lot of context. It's kind of, I'm going to keep you away from the struggles I had so you don't have them. But in not seeing the struggles, you don't know how to get through the struggles. But as I've gotten older and we developed a relationship and talked about it, I began to understand a lot of the bumps and the bruises and the challenges and what makes entrepreneurship and business ownership not for the weak and weary. All the success I've had in business has been a function of with my parents. As fortunate as I am and people look to my business story, there is no business story but for them and what they did. I mean, my dad was the first black business owner in Hyde Park in the 1970s. Hyde Park, though it's in welcoming and inclusive now, it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
There are a lot of stories that he would tell us about the challenge that he had being a black-owned business in Hyde Park back in the 1970s. That success comes from their legacy ultimately.
Joined by Dartisha Pitts, Esquire. I asked you to join us on the Book of Dawn because you are that girl. And I wish more of us did take the time to honor each other as women and successful women because our unity, I truly believe that. Dartisha Pitts serves as the General Counsel for the Office of the Illinois Lieutenant Governor. In 2017-18, she served as the President of the Cook County Bar Association.
Becoming an attorney was almost default. I think it was more so a personality thing. I always wanted to advocate for those who couldn't advocate for themselves. And growing up, I would get in trouble for that. Because my mom, be like, look, they're not even talking and you talking. You be quiet. I kind of almost felt the injustice for others, sometimes even more than I feel the injustice for myself. I would say in high school, I was the sophomore class president. So I've always taken leadership positions to push the voice of my colleagues. I'm also from the South Side. I've seen so many injustices that I always felt like our community, our families, where do you go? I've seen and been victim of from family where you've been victim of a slumlord. How do you address and get a remedy in that situation? I grew up in an environment where the police would be in the community and you would see the police harass those on the block for no reason. How do you get a remedy? Everybody talked about a lawyer, but nobody knew how to access one directly. And I think that was my drive to continue to be an advocate. I didn't know it was going to be a lawyer, though.
You apply and get accepted at Northern Illinois College of Law. Did you go directly after undergrad to law school?
No, I actually, right after undergrad, I moved to Washington, D.C., to work at a international law firm, Skadden Arps, Slate Marn Flom, in their corporate section. And I was a legal assistant for a year. When I got there and I realized how much I was making and how much those attorneys were making, who did go straight through, they weren't that much older than me, that influenced my law school trajectory. But I realized that although they did well, the type of work was not meaningful and purposeful enough for me. I wanted to be connected to the community. So I came back home and went to law school. I took 2 years out in between undergrad and law school.
And you not only complete, as many do, but you actually then take and pass the bar. Because that's the trick piece. Lots
on the first try.
There you go. A full anomaly right there. And I think it discourages some potential students or people from going into law because that bar exam is, first of all, not easy to pass on the third try, but for somebody to pass it on the first try is indeed confirmation that you were doing what you were supposed to do.
Yep.
The Book of Dawn, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on What's in It for the Black People Media.
WIIFTBPM.
Dame Lillard, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
Hey, this is Jason Kidd, and we're rocking with the Bigs.
I'm Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
This is Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. You're rocking with the Bigs.
This is a traffic jam. Traffic jam. Traffic jam. Traffic jam. Traffic jam. Traffic jam.
You are on the soil with the bigs, man. We are kicking it live from the West End for the Black People Media Studios, man. That mini clip, we were losing the sound on it, but that is the one and only legendary White Sox hitter, man, 1972 MVP, Dick Allen, who just passed this past Monday, man. From being around the Sox the last couple of years, man, I know that the White Sox have kicked it into overdrive as far as trying to find ways to honor this man. You know what I mean? Whether it be, a Dick Allen T-shirt on T-shirt Day. I know they brought him back for the opening of the Chicago Sports History Museum when they were honoring that 1972 White Sox team. But he is a player that you don't hear a lot about unless you got to see him play like our next guest.
Or unless you're just a super historian.
Exactly. Yeah,
or if you like our next guest.
Yes. Right. Resident OG, man. And when we say OG, it just means he's seen more than
Kenny,
we have.
Remember what we said about OG, man.
I got you this time. I got you.
Yes, sir, man. The one and only Kenny McReynolds is on the soil, kicking it with the guys, man. How you doing today, Kenny?
I'm doing real good, guys. You know, Dick Allen was my childhood hero. He died on a Monday. And just so happened on Monday, I just happened to pick up that Dick Allen T-shirt that the White Sox gave out last year, not knowing that he was going to die that day. But I tell you what a baseball player. What a year he had. You're right. The White Sox brought him back. I think they should retire his number. And let me tell you why. The White Sox say they won't retire his number because he didn't play here long enough. But he may not have been the best player to play for the White Sox. That would have to go to Frank Thomas and maybe Paul Konerko. But he's the most important player to ever play for the White Sox because he saved the franchise. The franchise was going to move to Seattle. They were packing up and ready to go. Then they got Dick Allen. They drew over $1.1 million. When he came in, he saved the franchise. If it was not for Dick Allen, Chicago would be a one baseball town.
No, Kenny, that was probably the most interesting tidbit I found in my research, man. The way the White Sox organization was going, the years leading up to him, joining the team as a free agent were bad. You know what I mean? Like you said, they were talking about leaving the city because of low attendance. And basically, like you said, Dick Allen should be credited as being the one that saved the team,
No question. Yeah, no question about it. He saved the franchise. He saved the franchise.
So what was it about his game, though, that as a young baseball fan, pulled you in and made you a fan of his?
Well, until that time, we had never seen anybody hit a ball that far. Now, you had Ernie and Billy on the north side, and they were hitting a lot of home runs, granted, but not as far as Dick Allen would hit them. I mean, and you have to remember, and you guys are historians like me, the ballparks back in those days were like the Grand Canyon. They weren't small like they are now. Wrigley Field was the smallest ballpark in baseball, right, dimension-wise. Now it's one of the largest. Dick Allen would hit balls over the roof. He would hit them in the center field bleachers 500 feet away, and they would get out in like 2 seconds. If they're the exit velocity now, back then, it would probably be like 1.1 second. Launch angle would be out of this world. To this day, I've never seen anybody, including Barry Bonds, hit a ball as far and as hard as Dick Allen did. And on that clip, you guys saw the way he ran the bases, the 2 inside the park home runs, probably the best base runner I've ever seen. I mean, from home to first, okay. But from first to third, nobody better because he cut the bases. He had a knack for knowing how to just hit the end of those bases. And if this guy really cared about doing anything he wanted to do, he would have been maybe the best ever. He would have been a Hall of Famer. He should be a Hall of Famer. But again, he saved the franchise, my beloved White Sox, and I will always love Dick Allen.
Kenny, as a guy that played 15 seasons, he was 1972 AL MVP. He was 1964 NL Rookie of the Year with the Philadelphia Phillies, and also played with the Cardinals, the Dodgers, and somebody else. The A's, I think.
A's.
Right, the A's. A guy that hit over 350 home runs. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame?
Well, you know what? His overall numbers don't say Hall of Fame. because he only hit 351 home runs. He had less than 1,200 RBI, but he had a 292 batting average. But he was so dominant during that one stretch of time, which is why he should be in a Hall of Fame.
Right.
But also, guys, remember, he walked away from the White Sox in '74. There were days that he didn't show up with the Cardinals. There were days he didn't show up with the Phillies. He was at the horse track watching horses run. So I think there's all the other stuff around him that cost him his Hall of Fame credentials. As far as the writers were concerned, I was very disappointed that the Old Timers Committee left him off the ballot by one vote. Back in 2014.
Yeah.
They were supposed to vote this month again for the Old Timers, but they postponed it until next year. But he was so dominant when he played. But remember, there was so much other things around him. I think that really hurt him by not showing up, not playing as many games as you would like him to play. But when he played, when he showed up, he was unbelievable. Hey, can I tell you guys got time for a quick Dick Allen story?
Absolutely, Kenny.
Okay. Well, in 2012, they brought him around. So he did my show in 2012. I was like a kid meeting Santa Claus for the first time. So here I am with Dick Allen on my show for an entire half hour. So I said, hey, Dick, let me ask you a question. With today's small ballparks, like Philadelphia, 315 down the line, Houston, 315, you played when ballparks were like the Grand Canyon. How many home runs could you hit today with expansion, meaning pitching is worse than it was when you played, and the ballparks are so much smaller? He said, well, maybe 30. I said, 30? That's it? He said, okay, 40. I said, only 40? He said, Kenny, give me a break, man. I'm 70 years old. I'm talking about in his prime. He said, no, at 70, I can hit 40 today.
I'm 40 at 70. Okay.
Yeah, he said, hey, give me a break, man. I'm 70 years old. And he started laughing. He said, oh, I thought you meant like today. I said, no. I meant in your prime. And he just started laughing and shaking his head. Because the ballparks today are, like Gene could hit a home run out of Houston and Philadelphia. But back in those days, the ballparks were like the Grand Canyon. And to hit those shots like he hit them, he captivated an audience of White Sox fans that had never been to the ballpark before. But people wanted to come see Dick Allen. And the year he hit those 37 home runs, 20 of them were at Comiskey Park.
Oh, wow. And I think that year they had the best home record in team history that still stands.
Yes.
But, Kenny, I want to ask you something about Dick Allen's reputation that you touched on, man, because he is the only player to win Rookie of the Year and MVP that's not in the Hall of Fame.
Crazy.
I mean, and you spoke on some of the downs in his career, not showing up and things along those lines. But how much of that do you feel, in your opinion, was a result of some of the racism that he faced, in that era? And doing the research, I saw, all the fallout from the fight he had with a teammate on the Phillies, Frank Thomas, that basically sent his career in another direction. But I want you to, Will Stake, so what can you tell me about that era of baseball and the effect that it may have had on his attitude towards the game?
Oh, no question about it. He was the first African-American star Philadelphia had, and then he got into the fight with Frank Thomas, who hit him on the shoulder with a bat, and the Phillies released Frank Thomas. Then all of a sudden, the Philly fans turned on Dick Allen. Despite all the home runs he was hitting, he had a lot of racism things. If you read any of his books, he talks about how he and his wife would threaten. They were afraid to go outside in Philadelphia back in 1964. He faced a lot of racism. And remember, in the minor leagues, he was in Little Rock, Arkansas in the early 60s. So, he was kind of standoffish. He was kind of nervous. He kind of stayed to himself. But the one good thing, I was happy when he went back to the Phillies in the late 70s. Mike Schmidt talked him into coming back. The fans embraced him. But in the early days, he was treated extremely poorly by the people in Philadelphia and a lot of people. He faced a lot of racism. And he had, when Philadelphia retired his number in September, even Mike Schmidt said that this man had to concentrate on so much more than baseball. It's amazing he's able to do the things he was able to do. He's got to look up in the stands and make sure his wife is okay.
Right.
Make sure his kids are okay. He went through a lot of racism, but I hope next December, since they postponed the Old Timers Committee 1 year, the vote. I hope he gets in. He missed by 1 vote. It would have been great for him to be living to get in, because 100%. I think he deserves it. That one stretch, he was so dominant. He was the most dominant player in baseball during that one stretch of time, over Hank, over Willie, over Ernie, over Billy. Dick Allen needs to be in Cooperstown.
Man, that says a lot, Kenny. You back there dropping that knowledge that I'm sure a lot of our listeners and watchers and viewers probably don't know about. But speaking to Dick Allen's character, I was listening to the Lawrence Holmes show yesterday on 670, and Steve Stone was on there, and he told a funny story, and I want to know if you heard about it, where he said, he had gotten traded to the White Sox, and Dick Allen called him. They were on the road about to play somebody, and Dick Allen called him like, "Hey man, I want to take you out to lunch. Meet me in the lobby of the hotel in about 30 minutes." So Steve Stone said he went down there, waiting in the lobby, 30 minutes to hour and a half, 2 hours. He said Dick Allen didn't show up. So he said the concierge lady was like, "Man, what are you, who are you waiting on, such and such?" He's like, "Man, I'm supposed to go to lunch with Dick Allen." So they called Dick. So he came, said he called Steve Stone back and said, "Man, Steve, I got some bad news for you." He said, "We got to push that lunch back because you just got traded." And he like, "Just got traded? Man, I just got here." He like, "Yeah, I know, but they didn't traded you." But he was like, "Good news is they trade you and you going back home to Cleveland." So Steve was like, "Oh, okay." So he said he had to call his family, called his mom and dad and told them, he just got to Chicago but got traded to Cleveland. So, they needed to find somewhere for him to stay, such and such, such and such. Then he said like an hour later, somebody else called him. I think Dick called him back and was like, "Oh, man, I'm just joking, man. You didn't get traded, man. I'm just joking, man. We going to have that lunch tomorrow," or something like that. But Steve Stone said it really showed Dick Allen's character and who he really was as a person. And he said that was really one of the best moments of his baseball life. So I think that goes into what you were saying about the actual person that Dick Allen was outside of the dynamic baseball player.
And you know what, Gene? I'm sorry, King. I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I tell you what, every time I met him, he was very nice. I met him at an Old Timers game for the first time at Wrigley Field and told him he was my childhood hero. He said, "Happy I could help." And like I say, that half hour he stayed at the TV station, man, we laughed and joked for another half hour afterwards. He was wonderful. You talk to Bill Melton, Carlos May, they all tell you what a wonderful guy he was and that he can do anything he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. I heard Steve Stone once say they were playing Baltimore, and Allen told him, "You know what? Mike Cuellar throws me a curveball every time. If he throws that first pitch, I'm going to hit it on the roof. And first pitch curveball, boom, on the roof. Not in the stands, on the left field roof.
On the
Came
roof.
back, I told you."
I can't help but think of, some of the more current black baseball players that have that reputation, though, Gene and Kenny, of being kind of difficult to deal with, but in reality, they may be more misunderstood than anything. I mean, I'm thinking of Jason Hayward, of who's Adam Jones, who was with the Orioles for a long time. Even Barry Bonds.
I was gonna say, and you see how now I'm a part of the cult, I would call it, the Baseball Writers Association.
You're on the inside now.
Yeah, so I understand now how if you get on these guys' bad side, they determine your fate, and it's just no way in hell.
It only takes one.
Kenny, there's no way in hell Barry Bonds shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Like, there's no way.
Well, you know what? Even if Barry Bonds took steroids, and we don't know if he did, he said he didn't. He was a Hall of Famer before that.
Thank you, man.
He was the best player in baseball before all this other stuff came up. I mean, Barry Bonds was the best player of our time, without question. But see, Barry didn't always talk to the press. He would tell them, "Hey, leave me alone."
Yeah.
All it takes is one guy. It takes one guy to spread a reputation about yourself. And hey, look at, I'm prejudiced, that's my guy, but he's on your show all the time. Look at Mark Aguirre. I mean, there should be no Naismith Hall of Fame without Mark Aguirre, but Dick Motta didn't like him.
Yep.
So Dick Motta spread the word about him, and now all of a sudden, Mark's a terrible guy.
Yep.
But and I know, and I've known him since high school, Mark is one of the greatest guys you'll ever want to meet. He'll give you the shirt off his back, and his playing on the floor says he should be in the Naismith Hall of Fame, but it only takes one guy to ruin your reputation. And that one guy for Mark was Dick Motta. And the writers in Philly ruined Dick Allen's reputation.
Hey, Kenny, we had Mr. Red himself, Eric Davis, on the show a couple weeks ago. Another guy who I feel like was a major part of my baseball history. I mean, like I said, you've been around longer than me, but in my baseball history, I still don't think I've seen a player with the type of force, power, speed, agility, and just that aura that Eric Davis had. And he's another guy who I feel like should be in the Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, you know, Gene, I tell you what, during that one stretch, Eric was one of the best players in baseball. I mean, but after he got hurt, he wasn't the same. Remember, he dove for the ball and he hit him in the ribs in the World Series. He wasn't the same.
Yep.
I don't know if he's Hall of Fame. He's borderline, but he's close.
Okay.
But during that one time, nobody was better. He could hit, he could run, he could throw. He did so many great things. He should get a lot of more consideration for the Hall of Fame than he does.
Yep.
That's for sure.
You know what? I'm definitely, a little salty that he's not going to see himself get into the Hall of Fame. But like Kenny said, he definitely belongs and should get in there regardless. You know what I mean? And like you said, the White Sox need to go ahead and retire that number, the number 15.
I'm sure they will now, though.
Yeah.
They told me they won't because he wasn't here long enough. He only played 3 years.
So
Okay.
So yeah, that he's going to live as one of those cult Chicago White Sox legends, and as soon as he passed, I got text messages from all the guys in my family. You know what I mean? My father, my uncle, like you, Kenny, guys that grew up watching that 1972 team and being big fans of Dick Allen.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if people remember or if you know anything I played, I wore number 15. If 15 wasn't available, I wasn't playing. I had to be number 15. When I played baseball, I had to bat third. And I went from playing left field and center field to playing first base because of Dick Allen.
Wow. That speaks to the influence, man, that I feel like black baseball players had on us. You know what I mean? So
no question.
Kenny, you know what I mean? Just the last thing I have is where do you see black baseball players going today? Like, you know what I mean, do you feel like they're that the trail that Dick Allen, players like Dick Allen blazed, is being respected and filled in the right kind of ways?
Well, we don't have a lot of African-American baseball players, as you guys know. We need to do something to get back into it. I think the White Sox are doing a great job with their ACE program, trying to develop and show African-Americans what a wonderful ball game it is.
They are.
A lot of the guys now want to play basketball, which is fine. Basketball is a wonderful sport. It's unbelievably wonderful, but I think so is baseball. When you look at guys like Eric Davis, Dick Allen, Andre Dawson, these guys were superstars, Ernie and Billy, Hank Aaron. You can make a lovely living playing baseball. It's a wonderful game. I think we have to find a way to get our youngsters from a young age to grow up back with baseball. We got to get the parents to take the guys to baseball games. See, when I grew up, it didn't cost much to go to a baseball game. I could go walk up and just find an adult and say, can I go in with you? And they would say, sure, come on. I get in for free. We got to find a way to get the youngsters back into the game of baseball. And you can see the guys who laid the trail, like your Dick Allens, your Ernie Banks, your Billy Williams, your Andre Dawsons, your Eric Davises. We need to find a way to get these youngsters back into a wonderful game called baseball. And I think the African-American players we have in the game today, like Jason Haywood, to show you, hey, it's a wonderful game. They're extremely talented, and you can make a lot of money as well.
And I think, like you said, with us growing up, baseball was an outlet for us. We would be in school all week and couldn't wait till Saturday when we got to spend the whole day playing baseball. Then when we get done with the games, we just chill out at the park, barbecuing,
right.
And that's where you first learn friendships and being able to, learn how to play with a bunch of different players. It's like where you learn competition and a whole bunch of other things. So I agree with you, Kenny. We got to get that back. But I think the bigger issue is coming up and playing basketball, going to the park, you can find a random basketball, on the playground or something. Football, you can take a football with the guys and go to the park. But baseball, a bat is $200. A pair of cleats is $200. A glove is $200. So I think,
I agree.
We kind of been priced out of that. A lot of parents can't afford, they can't afford that. But if you're good enough, and if you black, once you get to a high enough level, if you're black, you got to be 2 times as good as the other guys to stay there. And then, then they'll kind of take care of you. They'll make sure that you get the best opportunity. But I think it's a deeper issue than just, showing up at the ballpark and parents taking their kids. Because I think, I think if kids had the opportunity, they would love, and get so much more out of being raised playing Little League baseball going forward in life.
Well, I think that's one thing I love about the White Sox ACE program. And they're going into the inner city, trying to show these youngsters the game of baseball, and they'll give them equipment as well. But now basketball is a hot thing. When we grew up, Gene, it was baseball. But we need to get the guys back to show that it's a wonderful game. You can make a wonderful living doing it, and you can have a lot of fun. And like you said, it's a wonderful way to grow friendships. You depend on your teammates. They depend on you. Camaraderie. I always said sports teaches you something you can never learn in a classroom.
Period.
That is to depend on your teammates. They depend on you. You have to wake up early to get to practice because everybody depended on you to be there. But I just hope we can get more and more of our young African-American young men involved in the great game of baseball.
On that note, Kenny, man, I'm so happy we got to have this conversation about the man, Dick Allen. I feel like it was very necessary that, we give it the proper platform. As I said, when we first started this one, I'm always salty when, legends don't get their proper due. And, he deserved to see himself going to the Hall of Fame. But like you said, it's guys like you that keep his legacy alive and guys like us that keep his legacy alive. So rest in peace to Dick Allen.
Yep.
Kenny, thank you so much for coming and jumping down on the soil with us, man. I know you got our back whenever.
Oh, well, hey, you know what? Let me say this. You guys are doing such a wonderful job. It is my pleasure to be on your show. You guys have outstanding guests. You guys do a wonderful job. You've taken this to an entire new level for the African-American community. I couldn't be more proud of you guys for what you guys do. It is an honor for me to not only be on your show, but to call both of you guys dear friends.
Absolutely.
And, if I'm available, I'm always here for you.
All day long, Kenny.
That means the world, Kenny.
And, we go back to the early 90s, man. I'll never forget the day, the Antoine Walker Mount Carmel day. So you've been my boy for a long time, man. So it's just good to see you still doing it, still paving the way for me and T and the guys that's going to come from behind us. So we always keep you on the soil with the brothers, man.
Thank you so much, Kenny.
Thank you guys so much.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All righty.
All right.
Hey, that was Kenny McReynolds on the soil, man, our resident OG, giving a history lesson, from time to time. It's much needed, man. Let's jump into a break real quick. You're on the soil with the bigs.
Hey, family, this is Lisa E. from the Book of Dawn, and I want to wish everybody a very happy holiday season and be safe. We love you.
What's up, good people?
Y'all go accept my request on the page so I can do the
Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
I'm trying to do the survey.
Why would we let you in? Why would we let you on the? You talking about the Iswiz Book Club page? No,
we're gonna let you in, Ron. You need to read. I'm with that. I'm definitely put you on.
Somebody please let Ron in the Iswiz. Is it? I thought it was a public page.
I don't know. I don't run it.
I don't know who run it. You got to talk to Shannon and Robin and.
You said what? Y'all group private like it's something special or something.
First of all, it is something special.
Ass. Okay, there's something special. Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Then you gonna talk it again. Don't get no punishment again now.
Right. They already came in there like, look at her being nice to Ron today. It wasn't gonna last.
He always messes.
I think Adrian came in like, for now, like just for a little while.
Just for a little while.
Just for a little while. Just for a little while. Somebody let that man in the page. Somebody let that man in the page, Robin. Please let him in. I said what I said. Herb and 2 right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Dame Lillard, and rocking with the bigs.
Hey, this is Jason Kidd, and we're rocking with the bigs.
I'm Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs, and I'm rocking with the bigs.
This is Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. You're rocking with the bigs.
I like how that sound right there, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of inspirational. It's like everybody got a goal. They're trying to reach or alive. They're trying to live, man. We bumps in the road. You just got to keep pushing forward. You know what I'm saying? If it don't kill you, it make you strong. You know what I'm saying? My story right here. Yeah. It takes a special kind of mind to grind and work from the bottom and climb up the ladder of success in time. It doesn't matter what the test is, every step is another level till I step in as the next in line, no question. I'm considered one of the best, my whole life invested in, holding mics and sketching rhymes, you guessed it. I'm on mine, still restless, yes, even pressed up my records on my own dime. As many battles I blew breath in, and open mics I blessed. I'll never be labeled an overnight success, passing out CDs, doing shows for free, then dabbing Bo to eat so that my soul could speak over these soulful beats that's so cold to me. Like the breeze in the shower, we be posted deep. All the prices that I paid, the sacrifices I made, it'll all come to life one day, someday. Yesterday, trying to get my record played at a radio station where they play hits for days. Having a conversation with this lady I'm facing while she making a statement made for me. She said, look, it's too many words in your hook. You need to work on your look. For what it's worth, I never took her words personal. But at first, I wasn't certain though if she knew my words are personal and not just verses and books until the curtain closes. This is my version of what I know, learning in first person till I blow. And still I know how it feels to know I'm the deal. Did you still feel like a deal is just right, or a deal just might still add to my appeal? But they won't know I'm real till I touch my first million, right? I'ma chill till my bars is felt and play my hand with the cards I'm dealt, and that's the plan till it's solved itself. Yo, it's damn near impossible to shop music without lots of loot to maneuver and make moves with. So I stay in tune with my pursuit. Fuck trying to recoup, I'm trying to juke and move units. The truth is, I'm used to excuses dudes give, like you can do what I do, fool, and prove it. Walk in my shoes then. I'm used to goofy producers and cools that try to misuse you quick. Why you got it confused? If you think it's about groupie chicks and interviews in a mix, it ain't got ghouly, but I truly got the tools to overcome obstacles, including this music biz. I'ma shine like jewels, unlike these Rubik's Cube dudes with all this woo-woo-woo when they spit. Mick Luda is the future, so get used to this. It's day one, not a crew or clique. It's a new beginning.
Feels right to anybody. I mean, everyone is concerned. You know, we made an assessment, or I'm not sure who leads college basketball. You know, it's done by committee. You have oversight committee. You have this committee, and anything that's led by committee is not agile in handling a situation. And so we made an assessment and there was a consensus. It wasn't like well planned that we're going to start November 25th. And that was made without knowing if there's going to be where the vaccine was, how many cases, you know, and basically it was more of a mentality of get as many games in as possible. And I would just like for the safety, the mental health and the physical health of our players and staff, for their, like, to assess where we're at, in our country today. You have 2,000 deaths a day. You have 200,000 cases, 1.5 million last week. You have people saying that the next 6 weeks are going to be the worst. To me, it's already pretty bad. And on the other side of it, there are these vaccines that are coming out where people say that by the end of the month, 20 million vaccine shots will be given, especially to our healthcare, to the people who need it. And by the end of January or February, another 100 million. Well, should we not reassess that? And see what would be best. What would be best. And look, I'm going to do whatever they say. We're going to make the most out of everything we say, everything that's not, that's said. But it's a different time. It's just a different time. And
that was Coach K after the Illinois versus Duke game yesterday, where Illinois handed Duke a nasty L. But he was, it seemed like, and rightfully so, more concerned with the biggest, bigger picture and bigger story of what's going on in the NCAA these days, man. Multiple teams have paused basketball activity, including the DePaul men's basketball program, who have not been able to get a single game in yet because COVID is running rampant through their system. Players are still testing positive.
Fam, I was looking forward to watching DePaul and Iowa State Sunday, man. And right as soon as I turned to
they were planning on playing it.
Yeah, then when I went back to the TV guide and I'm scrolling, it had some whole new game under there. And I'm like, what happened? Then I read the scroll at the bottom, and it said the game had been canceled due to COVID protocol. And I'm like, man, DePaul might as well call it one, because that should have been like their 5th or 6th game so far.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, you're definitely wondering if they can complete a full season. Well, they can't complete a full season. There's no way you're making up 6 or 7 games in the midst of it, which makes me feel like, okay, should these guys be playing at all? You know what I mean? And I know that it has bigger implications than these guys just not playing. You know what I mean? But if you're risking these kids' health who are not getting paid to play the game, is it worth it? It's not the NBA. It's not the NFL or MLB. These are, technically maybe not, but they are classified as amateurs.
Well, I mean, we're seeing it in college football, because about Michigan and Ohio State that's supposed to play this weekend.
Yeah.
And if they don't get that game off, then Ohio State won't be
eligible for the
ball. Yeah, so we know how that's going to work out. But
powers that be will make it right.
Yeah. The big picture. We know it's all about capitalism. But like you said, these guys aren't getting paid. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel Coach K, because every day we're seeing a number of games. Even when I'm live betting, when I'm on DraftKings or I'm on FanDuel and I'm going through the games, I make my parlay. And then when I go to hit send or place bet, it comes back, game has been canceled. And it's like, this happens every day. And it's like not one game, and there are between 350 and 360 college basketball programs. Division I, let's just say Division I. We're not even talking about D2, D3, NAIA, and all the other JUCOs and all of that's going on. So I'm interested to see where they take this in the next week, because they're going to have to make a decision sooner rather than later, man.
And I feel like it's kind of wild to even be having this conversation, because you just see what's going on. You know what I mean? Coach K broke it down perfectly. It's like, okay, the numbers are going up. The country is telling people not to travel for the holidays, but in the same breath, you got these college athletes that are traveling all across the country. and we'll be doing more traveling, in the coming weeks. So it's definitely speaking out of both sides of your mouth. But I feel like when it comes to amateur sports and prep sports, this is where you see the most confusion right now.
So what do you feel about a college bubble? Because King Mufasa Red, he said bubble culture is real. Colleges should have led the way in protocols. Now, they did that at the beginning of the season with those tournaments like the Maui and a couple of other tournaments they had. It was a bubble culture, so those teams had been there for a few days. They got tested to make sure everybody was good, and then they played those games. I think even if it wasn't those tournaments, even we saw like Illinois, they played Chicago State, North Carolina, A&T, and Ohio, a three-game span,
right there.
So I think I don't think they were fully prepared. I think NCAA,
absolutely,
because this whole thing started when March Madness was about to start. So I do feel like the NCAA should have been more prepared for these type of situations and had proper protocol in play. But I also think that that's big bread as well.
Man, it's all about bread. Like you just said, Gino, these guys were one of the first people affected by the pandemic.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then almost a year later, they still haven't come up with a solid plan on how to operate in this space. And because I feel like the question or the result and solution that they're trying to avoid is nobody should be playing right now. So it's totally about the end game instead of these current games. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care about what's going on currently as long as at the end of this, there's their pot of gold.
Bottom line is met.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I feel like, as long as these kids, man, are just used as pawns, bro, and not, treated like the pro athletes that they should, because if they're playing in the pandemic, doesn't that kind of make them essential workers? Like, if you're saying that the game must be played, that makes them essential workers, and it makes it even worse that these guys aren't getting paid for what they do.
And I'm pretty sure that those guys want to hoop. I mean,
but see, now, of course they want to hoop.
Right.
But it's the NCAA that's supposed to be like, all right, now this is how we do it safely.
But, I mean, all they had to do was look at how the NBA handled it. But again,
look at what the NBA is on now. They're like,
but look at how many. It's only 28 and 30 teams in the NBA,
and they can test on a daily. Yeah, and they're getting paid. Like, I don't know what was. Yeah. I mean, the NCAA season.
What is the collective bargaining agreement in college basketball?
Go out and play. Like? That's what it is. It's go out and play, y'all.
Hey, man, let's take a break. When we come back on the other side of the break, let's continue this college basketball talk. Illinois beat the brakes off of Duke yesterday. And
that did happen.
Coach K, hey, man, I'm not letting you get away with this one, man.
Yeah, I got a couple of things to ask you about college basketball as a whole. I thought I was watching a Simeon versus Morgan Park game.
Hey, BC, we see you, man.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into a break, man. Y'all are on the soil with the bigs.
Yep.
Hey family, this is Dawn Millhouse from the Book of Dawn. Christmas and holiday time means giving to me. Make certain that you give of yourself to somebody else. This is Dawn. Happy holidays from the Book of Dawn.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Dame Lillard, and I'm rocking with the bigs.
Hey, this is Jason Kidd, and we're rocking with the bigs.
I'm Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs, and I'm rocking with the bigs.
This is Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. You're rocking with the bigs.
This is a traffic jam.
They might listen to radio, they might turn on TV, they might listen to music. Old school, new school, rap, hip hop, whatever it is, it has a beat.
tell him this ain't rap. Yeah. This ain't rap. Just discussing the facts. True that. Check it. Look. This ain't rap. Just discussing the facts. Too many of us down where the fuck I'm at. Niggas so far gone that they can't come back. Got cut with buck 50s or bust from the gap. Just another body done on the map. Just another statistic. Just another stat. Just another color. Just another black. Just another brother under. Understand that? Nah, not really, but it seems I'm being forced. Growing up in the G, seen it from the front porch. He's being scorched, peeps reaching for the torch. Next day we being caught like a child needs support. Can I get away, midway airport? Days like this, wish I was in the Air Force. How dare beat the devil, can't dare be cold. Don't need to write it down, just share me those. This ain't rap. No, this ain't rap. No, this ain't rap. Just discussing the facts. Too many of us down with a fuck.
Back to wrap it up. We are back to wrap it up. Live from the West Center for the Black People Studios, man. Another great installment of On the Soil, man. It's only right we wrap it up.
Make sure y'all stay tuned, man.
Make
sure y'all stay tuned for the brothers. I said what I said. Cousin too. Our boy Herb Howard. Y'all know me, T, and Herb. We get out every Sunday from 10 to 12. The kickoff kickback.
Yes, sir.
This Sunday is going down, man. So y'all make sure we gonna keep talking about it. Herb is going to let y'all know in the next from 3 to 6 about what's going down this Sunday. It's going to be an official kickback, so make sure y'all get up with the brothers, come show some love, spread some love, eat some food, and hopefully the Bears might pick up a win. But let's not even talk about it. Let's not get into no Bears talk.
I was about to say, F that.
Yeah.
Okay. But, man, I want to talk about the Illinois versus Duke game because it showcased 3 of our favorite guys that we've had to cover, over the last few years on the prep side of things, on the Chicago high school basketball beat. Adam Miller, Ayo Dosunmu on Illinois versus DJ Stewart last night at, holding it down for Duke. A lot of history between those guys, man, and it's always good to see them do it on that next level.
Man, it was great to see DJ and Adam starting for top 10 programs in NCAA basketball. That shows a lot.
You know what? I'm loving the stories that I'm hearing. Did you hear them talk about how they were in practice and both Ayo, they had to die for a ball, and Adam didn't. And Ayo was like, hey.
That ain't how we get down.
Here, we die for those.
We might not have did that at Morgan Park with Nick because we was blowing people out by 50.
Or the gym was too small.
Yeah, you ain't want to bust your head on that on the
one of them
wall.
bleachers. Yeah, exactly.
But no, and then you saw Adam Miller die for that ball. I think he hurt his right or left elbow.
Yeah,
he wasn't in for the last maybe 9 or 10 minutes of the game, but it resonated with him immediately, and I'm happy to see. Ayo. I see a lot of people still giving Ayo flack. Yes. He ain't the flashiest player, but Ayo is definitely stacking bread on these people.
Let me tell you, he's a very smart player, bro. You just said. When Adam Miller went down, I loved the way that Ayo played, Joe, and just flowed with the game.
Yep.
He's the leader of that team. He finished with almost
16,
a triple-double.
12, and 6.
18, 12, and 5.
18, 12, and 5. Effortless on the boards. Can get his shot off when he wanted. You saw the last score of the game. DJ wanted to take the challenge from the top of the key. He was playing pretty good D. But once Ayo we talk about it. Once you know your spots on the floor, Ayo knows his spot where he can't be touched in college basketball, and it's that 13 to 17-foot range. And when he got DJ in that, bink, took him to the free throw line, shot up over, made it all net, and turned around like.
I loved it, man. It was a 83 to 68 victory for Illinois. They are 6-1 on the season.
Game wasn't even close from the jump.
Ever. Duke had a couple of pushes, but I don't think it ever got close.
I think they got it to like 10,
Yeah. But, man, here's what I want to ask you real quick. You said Ayo gets a lot of pushback from people who don't recognize that even though he ain't flashy, he still got game. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like Ayo, the more and more I see him, the more I feel confident saying this. When he gets to the league, you know what I mean, and when the NBA, I think he's going to be a very special player, bro.
You know what we going to do? We going to hit up, I don't know if we need to hit up Brad Underwood or if we need to holler at Papa Q, but we going to get Ayo on the show in the next week or so because he was definitely one of the bigs official, one of the first drops we ever got And I just think Ayo, I agree with you 100%. Ayo is a certified NBA player. Could have gone this year, decided to come back, had unfinished business left in Champaign. But I think a lot of people don't understand that Ayo uses what he has at a very high clip. He's long. He's got a high IQ. He's got a high intensity.
Big time IQ,
and he
bro.
knows how to win basketball games. We saw him close a lot of Illinois last year, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan. He hit a bunch of game winners.
Big time.
Now it's the same thing. It's about when you're that guy. Sometimes you got to scale it back because the ball is going to be at your hands for you to make the decisions at the end of the game. But let's give credit before we get out of here, man. I think the only thing that's going to hurt Illinois coming down the stretch is the athleticism. But I do think they have the talent. I love Trent Frazier, who's back for his senior season. He's a great backcourt member. He's definitely a top-rate defender in college basketball. We know Adam Miller as a freshman.
Silky smooth,
smooth, not afraid of the moment.
He was heading toward another dub.
I like Andre Curbelo,
the
freshman from Puerto Rico off the bench. He had a great game last night. May get a little out of control here and there, but you got to expect that.
It comes with
the territory.
That's what I felt.
But I think Brad Underwood has him under control. I like the big guys up top, Kofi Coburn. I forgot my other guy. He got a long last name.
I know who you're talking about.
I think he might be Russian or Czechoslovakian or something.
Got to have
like
one of those guys.
But they're great, man. I think Illinois definitely has a chance to make the Final Four. And I expect to see them at the Final Four, man. They may not win it all.
We'll see. But anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
I feel like those guys are hungry. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing those guys, show and prove a little bit more. Hey, on that note, man.
Hey, man, Duke. I don't know, DJ.
Dookie.
DJ, I'm telling you, listen to your boy, man. You got just as much talent as those other guys, man. Stop taking a back seat. He looked kind of huffed at the beginning, but he came on late, made 3 or 4 threes
and
down
that's
the stretch.
our boy. Real talk, we may have to touch base with him soon.
Too. Hey, man, we going to touch down with all our guys, man. Shout out to DJ, shout out to Adam, and shout out to Ayo. But like you said, man, another episode.
Another one.
In the books, on the soil. Coming up next, we got our brothers, the guys.
2 and Herb.
Our player partners, Cousin 2.
I said what I said.
I said what I said every day. Here from 3 to 6 on What's in It for the Black People Media. Man, shout out to Flo behind the boards, man.
Come on, man. I respect it. Yes, sir.
Hey,
that's
Lil
what I'm
Ron,
talking
man.
about.
Lil Ron, you got somebody on your heels, man.
Hey, real talk, y'all are forming a nice team back there. I appreciate y'all, man. On that note, this is On the Soil. We are the Bigs. We will holler on Friday at 1, y'all. We'll see y'all then.
It's us. We out.
Still facts, though. Real black, though.